myself. My name is Mark Ross, and I grew up in the area here. This is my hometown, and I find public service, being on the Martinez City Council, has been a great, great honor. And I'd like to continue because when I grew up here, this was a beautiful swale and nice trees, and the Shetland Pony Ranch was just down the road. We're south of Highway 4 here. And we still have more open space than most cities in the East Bay, and we're kind of more like Marin. And I want to kind of keep it that way. As a real estate broker, wears a tie every day, and I talk to people who want to move to our town. I stress the per capita of open space per building here. We have a great ratio. I want to keep it that way. It increases our home values. It keeps the quality of life great. I want to keep the streets safe. I want to do more with our roads. Vote yes on Measure D, by the way, if you're watching this, to help improve our roads in Martinez. As a longtime member of the City Council, I really think it's important in the next few years that we focus on keeping the Alhambra Hills as open space from being developed, and also keeping other areas pristine and open as well. And where we can make open space, we'll try to do that. When it comes to open space, I don't think there's anybody since Barbara Woodburn that has helped procure or establish more open space in Martinez than myself. If you want more information about me, by the way, you can go to markross.info and get my contact info. Thank you.
First, I'd like to say thank you to Bill and Shirley for having this event, and thank you all for coming. My name is Nora Lee Gipner. I'm running for City Council because I believe we need a City Council that gets along with each other so we can move things forward, and who knows how to work well with our community. I am born and raised in Martinez, third generation Alhambra graduate. I've raised 4 boys here and started 3 successful businesses, small ones, 2 of them downtown. I have been a volunteer in our community for more than 35 years. I have spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours in our town just to make it better. That's what I do. I have a history of getting results. If you want something done, you come to me. I can make our city hall more inclusive and open. We have opportunities in our town coming up, and we need our community to be involved in the decision-making process. That's the only way it's going to move forward. We have to involve our community. I'm not a politician, and I don't claim to be a policy expert, but I don't believe Martinez needs that right now. We need a leader with ties to the community, who they can trust, and who has open leadership styles. So please get involved and participate. Give me a call. I got my envelopes in the back with my phone number. Thank you.
I've attended city council meetings for years. Many of you have seen me there because I'm very interested in our community. I also have a master's in public administration, and I focused in management and public policy, and policy is one of my favorite issues and one of the things that I feel will make me a good candidate. I live here south of 4 now, right in the hills that I talked about, just south of the hills that I talked about in this beautiful part of the country in Virginia Hills, and I'm really pleased to be living here and have the opportunity to run for city council in your city. Thank you.
My name is Courtney Masella O'Brien, and I am also a candidate for city council. I'm an attorney that advocates for small businesses, and I'm the mother of a 4th grader in Martinez schools, and I'm also a community volunteer leader. I serve on the boards currently of the Martinez Community Swim Team and the Contra Costa County Bar Association Women's Section. I've also done a lot of work with the PTA, local sports, the Girl Scouts, and I've served on the local control and accountability plan for the school district. And I also chose to live here in Martinez. I graduated from UC Davis Law School, and this is where I wanted to raise my This is where I wanted to raise my family. I think Martinez is a great place to live and work and raise a family, and I really just want to see Martinez be the best that it can be. I think we need leaders who have the leadership skills and the problem-solving skills to get things done. We are really the best place to live in the East Bay, but we do have some opportunities. Some of the things that I want to focus on are the marina, the downtown, the open space, and also public safety is a big priority of mine, having a young family. And I really think that we need more transparency, more openness, and more accountability in our city government. And I think I have the leadership skills and the ability to get things done and would really be able to make a difference in the city. Thank you.
Well, I've always been a firm believer that we have no business building in our hills. But Martinez does have a real opportunity right now to finally close this chapter. We have hired Jim Jackal to be our project manager. That's what I was told just a couple days ago. And we have set up a timeline with real conversation with the owners, Richfield Real Estate Corporation. Now we need to look for the partners to help us buy this property. I will work real hard to find partners. That's what I do. I go out and get people involved. Now, as far as our city donating or putting money into this cause, I don't see how that's going to happen. We had to pass a bond to fix our parks, our pool, our library. We're having to try to pass a Measure D to fix our roads. I don't see how we have any extra money in our budget to do this.
As I mentioned before, my first time that I came into Martinez, I came right down through this area and saw those hills, and I think it would be a shame for us to lose that beauty. It's really unfortunate that the decision was made a number of years ago to allow development in the hills. I believe that we really need to work at finding a way to keep that from happening. The hard part is the funding to make that happen. We all know that we can't fund everything. I would like to see that be funded. We need to work hard at doing that. It's been mentioned that we have a project manager that is going to be coming on to lead in this process. And I hope that that person has the experience and the knowledge to be able to find the funding that we need to really be able to do that. And I would support doing it. I support us looking for the funding to save this property. It is one that has not only historical value, but incredible beauty for our city, and we do need to try and save it.
Well, I also support saving the Alhambra Highlands. I think it's a really important priority for the city, as I mentioned earlier. I really think that Martinez is one of the best places to live in the Bay Area, and it's a place that I chose to raise my family, in part because we do have so much beautiful land. It's a great town, but you also feel like there's open space, and we're kind of nestled here in the hills, like a little bit like a countryside, which is really unique in this area, and we really do need to try to save that. I think that as others have mentioned, funding is a challenge in our town. The city funds are limited, but if I'm elected, I will do everything that I can to work with the city, the project manager, the other council members, to find the funds, make it a priority, and also work with some of the other stakeholders, the John Muir Trust, the Sierra Club. There are others that we can reach out to, and it's really just going to take the leadership and making it a priority and setting that as a goal to get this done. And I'm confident that it's really important to our town, and I think that we can do it.
Well, if you look at my flyer on the back table, or if you get one in the mail, you'll see the Alhambra Hills are featured prominently on the first page. As I mentioned earlier, I grew up here, and these are the hills I used to play on, and I was fortunate enough to do that. In my career, both in public service and in real estate, not necessarily both at the same time, I've helped to establish a number of open space areas. And it's not easy to do, and it takes some experience. We have hired Jim Jackal for various purposes, and basically it was the understanding that this was the project he was going to be assigned to. If it was not an election, I'll be frank with you, if it was not an election month, we probably wouldn't be having this as an item on the agenda for people to pontificate about and beat their chest about this coming Wednesday. But ostensibly, this man was hired in July for this purpose, and it wasn't specifically put in the scope. I guess we're going to add that language so everybody can be happy and put it on their flyers. But he's going to help us because he understands that it's not just finding the money. Like when you buy a house, you have to come up with a down payment, and then a lender will give you the money. We have to come up with the will and the fortitude that shows the other people that Courtney had mentioned, the Sierra Clubs and all those funders, that we have the will and we want to put in, and we're all in as much as we can be. They'll help us. But 3 years ago, we started to tried it. We quite didn't get to that critical point that we needed to. Now, even then, when I voted against this development, and I voted against it so we could bring the owners of it to the table, and other council members thought it was a safe vote I was hiding. No, my strategy is to bring them to the table. Well, 3 years later, we're still here, they're still there, and they're willing now to come to the table. I would have done it earlier, but that's in the past. So hopefully we can work with them. I know how it works. I know what we need to do, and like Richard Nixon, I have a secret plan to end this dilemma. But as a real estate negotiator, you don't tell the other side what your price is going to be. And I'm not trying to sound like Donald Trump, like I don't have it. I've actually expressed this idea in various ways in closed session. I think it's a viable alternative, and it's creative, and it's out of the box thinking that I really think that I do because I'm left-handed. I have some good ideas on how we can make this the legacy property that it should be for all the public.
First, I want to say I do live south of 4, and I go to downtown to eat and spend my money regularly. We need to encourage everyone who lives down here, our neighbors and friends, to do that. It's part of what we need to do for our city. I think that we're talking about a renaissance downtown. I would say it's a minor renaissance because we have gotten a few new businesses recently, but we've also lost other businesses, and that's the unfortunate part. So basically, we have a wash almost going on downtown right now, and it's not good enough. We're actually in a really good economic situation in our area at this time period, and we should be seeing more growth. I think we need to do that in a couple of ways, one of which is, and something that I've talked about a lot, and that is code enforcement. We need to enforce the code downtown so that we don't have windows that are broken out on buildings, rotting wood, peeling paint, etc., to make it much more appealing for businesses to come there, as well as people to go down there to eat, shop, and enjoy themselves. We also need to have someone on our city staff that works hard at bringing businesses into downtown. I used to lease office buildings and retail space, and I know well, people don't just come and knock on your door and say, I want to be in your building. You have to work at it. You have to bring them in and show them why your place is where they should move their business, or why our city is a place to expand their business. I had to do that, and I loved doing it when I was at the Chamber of Commerce. I did bring some businesses here. I also worked with a number of our businesses who also were having problems, and I coached them through how to deal with some of the issues that they were having. I'm behind on rent, etc. As a matter of fact, I left as the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce over a year ago, and this week a downtown business came to me and told me, I'm behind on my rent. Can you help me? And that's the kind of thing that our businesses need. They need some coaching, and we also need to incentivize businesses to come here. Give them a reason to move here. And I think there are different ways that we can do that, including helping them get started by walking them through the process at City Hall. I've had a number of businesses come to me that were going to open, some that did open, and told me how difficult it was to get their business open because they weren't sure where to go, who to talk to, and how to get things done. They were given things that made them pull back and think about, I don't want to move here. So I would like to see us work harder at bringing businesses here and make it a place that people want to bring their business to. As we get more businesses, there'll be more business down here.
We definitely need to do more about downtown. I think that one of the things that I love to do downtown is bring my daughter downtown off Sunday morning for farmer's market. But other than that, if on a Friday evening or even a Saturday afternoon, there's not a lot going on downtown unless there's some sort of festival. Businesses close early. There aren't a lot of choices. And I really think it's a shame. I think that we can preserve the things that make our town special and unique, like our older buildings, but also make the progress that our families really want to see and deserve, so that people south of Highway 4 do go downtown instead of going to Walnut Creek or Pleasant Hill. And one of the things that I think we really need to do to focus on that is something John mentioned, is having a person at City Hall that's dedicated to economic development, and specifically downtown. We need to attract businesses downtown and retain those businesses and help those businesses market to not only Martinez, but their surrounding towns, Walnut Creek, Concord, Pleasant Hill. And we also need to help some of those people that own some of those older buildings downtown to make the changes that are needed to attract some of these businesses. But also, one problem that a lot of the businesses are having is that because those buildings are older, the tenant improvements are just astronomically high, and a lot of the tenants are having trouble with those. So we need to find a way to work with the building owners and the tenants to make the buildings attractive to bring those businesses here that really our residents want to see downtown. And we also can do some updating to our downtown specific plan so that we can have some different types of buildings. Right now, the codes only allow for, I believe it's to build 35 feet, so that really is only a 2-story building. Now, I'm not saying that we want to have skyscrapers downtown, because we don't, but if some of the buildings could be 3 or 4 stories, that would allow for mixed use, so we could have condos, offices, and retail space. And the more people living downtown would also be more people that are going to be downtown to frequent those buildings and spend their money. And then another aspect of it, because all of the things that we need to do in town are connected, would be public safety. So we also need to work, we have a great new police chief in town, and we need to work with our new city manager, our new police chief, and also the county to work on our homelessness issue, because people want to feel safe when they bring their families downtown. So there's a lot of those areas that are connected that we really need to focus on to really make downtown the destination spot that it should be.
Yeah, somebody who lives downtown and has his business downtown, and I'm downtown almost every day of my life. I walk up and down Main Street. I go down to Starbucks every day, get my iced tea, and I get to see everything. And it doesn't all look the same after a while. I notice the changes, and I notice the vacancies, and I understand the vacancies. In fact, I've helped fill them. States Coffee, our little family business, we help put in States Coffee, the bicycle shop, the gym that's down at the corner of Castro and Ward there. If you go down there, that's the vision of Martinez that's to come. When we passed the seismic retrofitting ordinance and we enforced its due date, we got building owners to kick out their old tenants, unfortunately, but it caused a turnover. And that turnover is resulting in new people buying buildings, looking at what the possibilities are, and they're understanding our story and kind of buying into the vision that we've been promulgating, that I've been promulgating, dinner and a show, an artsy kind of a town. I coined the term Art-Tinus because that's what we used to be. You came to Martinez, to go to the John Muir site, go to the 2 movie theaters in Contra Costa, the State and the Avalon, and go to Paul's or some other restaurant for dinner. Our history was dinner and a show. You went to Martinez. I've always seen Martinez as an eclectic, mercantile type of town that isn't chained, isn't formulated somewhere in Houston. That's the type of texture retail that we offer. And we have the buildings and the architecture and the feel and the people to get that out to people who are my clients and other real estate clients that John has dealt with. They want to see why they should move there. It's great to have lower fees. It's great to have somebody at City Hall. It's great to get through the county's health department and finally get your permit, like the wine bar is finally going to be open. And by the way, they're located over in Walnut Creek. They're coming to Martinez because they see great opportunity here. And what happens is, once you get the first date, then all of a sudden you're the popular kid in high school. And that's kind of where we're going now. As Bill said, we have a little bit of a renaissance going on, and it's being poo-pooed a little bit, but this is how corners turn. When Walnut Creek had Prima, and they got all mad because the city helped Lark Creek come in, and then when Lark Creek came in, then a third restaurant came in, the guy at Prima said, oh, I see how this works. One follows the other. And that's what they do in retail. They do co-location. As soon as there's a McDonald's, then there's a Wendy's. And then there's the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Not that that's what we want, but that's the kind of model and happening that's going on now with the kind of eclectic retail and mercantile community that is starting to generate down in downtown Martinez. And oddly, it started with the seismic retrofit ordinance because a lot of those buildings had 2-prong plugs, and nobody was going to sink their $300,000 of life savings in a building that had 2-prong plugs. They're going to go to a community that's upgraded itself. That's what we've done, and we're bringing people into town that are looking at the possibilities of Martinez. And that's going to make it vibrant, as it's already becoming. We've got 2 theaters and a jazz club, and we've got a great recreation future as well.
Well, I have started 2 successful businesses downtown, so I really know the challenges of being down there. The first thing we need to solve is the parking. You can't have a successful business district unless you have a parking district. Just cannot happen. Recently, I got to talk with Federal Glover, and he guarantees that when they build their new government civic center, they're going to be building a parking structure behind it to house both the courthouses and the county workers. So we have that covered. We'll have parking downtown. What I'd also like to see happen is for all the merchants downtown to be given free parking somewhere in town. They deserve a treat. That would be the one special thing they get to have. Next thing I'd like to see happening is we need infill housing on our empty lots. Infill housing done in good taste. We have plenty of examples in Martinez of it done well. The DMV lot on Pine Street is a perfect example. We have a little infill lot down on Main Street on the other side of Barrelessa, a great example. By having new people living downtown with ownership, they have more vested. We need that. We need people spending money daytime. We need people spending money nighttime. So that will cover at least weekend and nights with more people living downtown. We also need more office workers downtown. When county lost 2,000 county employees in 1 year when I had my candy store, my business went from going great to making very little money. You need to have daytime spending. So I would encourage office space. Recently at the mayor's dinner, I got to talk to a gentleman who does startup companies. He hooks up communities with startup companies. He's very interested in Martinez. I would like to pursue him. I will be very involved in getting the community involved with itself. They can go out and help us find businesses also. Thank you.
One of the projects that I really want to work on is the marina. And I really think that the marina needs leadership, and we need to identify our goals, our objectives. We need a strategic plan, and we need to execute it on time. Right now, when the loan was restructured in 2013 for the marina, we're supposed to have our master plan for the marina by 2018. Well, it's almost the end of 2016, and not a lot has happened. So it just really takes someone that's going to be the leader and get it done. We have a part of the marina that is owned by the East Bay Regional Park District, and that's open space, and I think that's great. We need that at the marina. I love to go down there in the morning and walk, and we also have a part of the marina that's designated that can be developed. And we need to find investors that are willing to come down there and invest their money, because we have the $4 million loan that's debt, and then we also have about $14 million in infrastructure improvements that are needed to make our marina usable and profitable. So really, we need to find an investor that's willing to come down there. One idea that I think is a really great idea is partnering with the CSU Cal Maritime Academy to come down there and maybe have classroom space, conference room space. And there is the room to do that, and that also would open up some federal funding that we could use. The marina is it's a part of Martinez that makes us special. And who doesn't want to live by the water and have a great place to take their family to enjoy by the water? But we do have the opportunities that we really need to address. And there's also the public safety issue that I talked about earlier that we can work on at the marina. The marina should be a destination spot, and when we start to be able to revitalize the marina and enhance it and improve it, that benefit is also going to spill over to the rest of the town. It's going to bring more people down to to north part of Martinez downtown, and people from other areas are going to come to our marina and want to be able to use that beautiful space, just like they do in Antioch, in Pittsburgh, and the other areas that have places that people want to go and be on the water. And those people are going to come to Martinez and spend their money in our downtown at our restaurants and our shops. So it's definitely something that needs to be a top priority for the city.
Yeah, the marina is, as everybody says, our diamond in the rough, and we've heard that phrase for decades. The state is holding on to that $4 million loan that was given to us in the 1960s to build the marina, and I understand that. But now that we have ownership of the marina, which we've recently acquired, we're able to go out now and go to investors and say, look, we are not just tenants of the marina asking you to invest in the state's land. We own the land, we'll partner with you, and that way people feel comfortable investing the $10 to $20 to $30 million in the marina to get a return on their money over 40, 50, or 60 years, which is something we couldn't offer them before because we didn't own it, and the state would only give us a 42-year lease and then say, well, maybe you'll get one again. So investors were reluctant to put money into the marina. Hence, with that, we couldn't get any guarantees from anybody who operate the marina that they could upgrade the breakwater, which needs to be done. Doing that $14 million of infrastructure that Courtney talked about. And by the way, it's 2020 that I think the Marina Master Plan is due. I don't think it's 2018, but we can double check that. And so we have to get that done. But more importantly, we're showing people that we have the capability of working with people. We own the marina, so that puts us in a better position. I'd like to see the marina, after we get this inception of this private ferry service that's coming on in the next few months, and if Measure X passes, we'll be able to have the possibility of real ferry service for the public opening up down there. And that's how Martinez started, by the way, with the ferry service in 1848 for the gold miners. And I think that, once again, Martinez can be a showcase for the whole county to come and visit our marina. I'd love to see a banquet facility or some type of convention center there that would be booked 2 years in advance for weddings, business meetings, conferences. We can have an interpretive center there. I can see this becoming one of the more popular places in this region to visit, and it will draw people, filter people through the downtown. They can start at the downtown, they can get off on the train, go to the marina, do day hikes over the ridge to the Muir House, take the bus back to the downtown, do day hikes. They can make a day of it, and we can pattern that. Other cities have figured out their vision, and I wish I could get mine promulgated through the city council, and hopefully we'll get it done with other voices on the city council. But that's what I've been holding on to the last few years, and I think it's doable. And it starts with the marina, and now we're in a new era of possibilities because we own the marina.
Well, I have always loved the marina. I've been going down there since I was a little tiny kid. And by knocking on doors the last many months, I have found out a lot of Martinez loves their marina and they want to see it happening. Well, recently I got to speak with the harbor master, and she told me about a new business that uses silt for building materials. So I wanted to check out the source to make sure it was true, so I set up a meeting with the CEO of the company. What he would love to do is dredge our marina for nothing, okay? What he gets out of it is he gets the silt, and he also gets to use our dredge ponds to process the silt, because you have to drain the water off of it. He would then take it out by rail line. It would be the safest way to take the silt out of Martinez without causing problems. Well, the second best part of the equation is marinas up and down our straits, most of them don't have dredge ponds like we do, okay? And so they have to load their silt onto barges, haul it out to the middle of the ocean, which costs a whole lot of money. We can cut them a deal. Dump it off at our dredge ponds. The guy makes his money off selling the dredge. We get money by letting them dump. So then we have money to fix our seawalls, to fix our docks. Start talking with the state of California how we can pay back the loan. So that's what my big goal is, to pursue this company. I'd also like to find new promoters to help us with the amphitheater, to turn it into a very successful site, a venue site where everybody wants to go for entertainment, different kinds of entertainment. So I figured you get your marina filled with boats, you got your amphitheater filled with people. There's no reason we can't get our restaurant back at the marina. Those are my goals.
I think that the marina does need to be revamped, and it needs to be looked at not only in terms of the marina, but as the waterfront as a whole. And I say that because just doing the marina will not bring enough revenue in. It's going to be the other businesses that come in and bring revenue, the developers that we can bring forward. And it's true that Olivia, the harbor master, has actually sourced a company that will come in and remove the silt and not charge us. And in the past, we were thinking it was going to cost us a lot of money to do that desilting process. But desilting is not enough. We're going to have to then build a tidal wall to keep it from resilting, or it will be of no value. One of the important things also that we need to understand is that is not just a recreational facility, it also is a safety facility, because if there should be an event at one of the 5 refineries in the area, the emergency equipment comes right out of that harbor. And if they can't get in and out, we have a problem. And as you know, just recently, Phillips 66 had lost some oil, and we had an oil slick out on the water. A lot of that is now up on our shore. I don't know why we haven't done anything. Maybe we are doing something. It's not been made public, but we need to get Phillips 66 to make us whole for what they've done as far as damage on the shore. They need to play into it along with the other facilities that refine oil to be able to make this safe. I believe we should also, because this is an environmental issue, we should be going to our federal government, to the EPA, for a grant to help rebuild our harbor to where it needs to be. This is not just a local issue. This is an environmental issue that could affect all the way down the water for miles south of us, and we need to be after that. We need to be partnering with other groups, not just the city of Martinez, to look at footing the bill. We need to look at other areas. Developers are indeed one of those. And I would like to also see that we do something with the waterfront where there are restaurants, shops, and especially lighting. It's a wonderful place to go to watch the sunset in the evening, whether you're eating dinner there, walking your dog there, or just out for a walk. But people have told me that they don't feel safe watching the sunset and then walking back through a dark parking lot with some of the people that hang out down there. By having the lighting down there, it would help make it safer and a place that people would be more comfortable using. And we've been talking about how do we get people from south of 4 up to the other side of 4 to spend their money, and this is one of the ways. Make it appealing for people to go there. We happen to take our dogs out to walk in different parks. We go to Port Isabel in Richmond a lot of times because it's beautiful, the weather's nice. I think the same thing would happen here. People would come here, go downtown to the waterfront, or go to the waterfront rather. They'd come through downtown, they'd grab their coffee, their Danish, and then when they walk their dog, come back and sit on the platforms outside and spend their money. So the waterfront as a whole and the marina being part of that are something we really need to seriously look at making happen, and we need to do it in the near future. It's gone on for too many years. The people want it to happen. We need to make it happen.
Well, that's the mission statement that is in that general plan is pretty much the mission statement you'll see in almost every community, because the general plan is the blueprint for a community. And unfortunately, and I've been heretical in saying this, fortunately, we haven't had it stuck to us as most communities do. We actually have been benefiting it because we haven't had it so regimented by having the open space that we do. In the last 6 years, we have had charrettes, we have had meetings, and we've had a different process than has been used before, but it hasn't culminated in an actual general plan. And we're doing some white papers. We've got 4 white papers, and it's a highfalutin term for 4 reports that are going to come forth in the next coming year on different areas and aspects of the general plan. What I'd like to do is reopen the process so that everybody has a say in it, so that it looks like the community wants it to look like, and it includes a firm statement on open space, because honestly, the last general plan that we've been working with, in the one sense, it was flexible enough that we could change it and modify it and have more open space than other communities. In other areas, it's kind of fuzzy, and we've gotten into these almost decades-long arguments over, well, it's open space, it's not open space. So let's bring some clarity through public input, and we can get a general plan that shows what the community really wants in the balance of land that has to be determined for its use. 90% of the land in Martinez, or more, its use is already determined. It's already housing, it's already infrastructure, or it's already planned out. So what we need to do with that remaining 10% is come to an agreement on what that should be, and it should have some element of flexibility in it, because I see it in other communities, mostly in the Pacific Northwest, some in the Northeast, where they have these different types of plans, and I'll be trying to bring those examples to us so we can look at those, where they can make the changes without the full-scale, 5-year, lawsuit-ridden, change that we currently see now in just about everything. So I'd like to see us have a better plan with public input and some flexibility and some progressive touches to it that I think we can add that other communities in other parts of the country have added.
Well, like Mark said, the general plan is a blueprint for our community. It's going to give us the direction we need to go to make sure our future generations thrive. Also, hopefully with the general plan, it'll stop all the fighting in Martinez. Whenever we want to do something, someone's got an argument. I understand that general plan's been stuck because we've had a high turnover of staff, but that's all been taken care of. And now we have an opportunity with 2 new people on, with City Council. We can move it forward. I feel confident with that.
The general plan is being looked at and has been for a number of years now and has moved along very, very slowly. And we need to move forward with it a little more quickly. And one of the reasons is that it's been mentioned, the marina has been deeded over to us by the state. And in that agreement, we said we would come forward with a plan by 2020 for the marina. That happened 2 years ago. So we've used 2 of our 6 years already, and there is no plan for that waterfront. That is part of the general plan. So that has to be worked on to finish the general plan. I've also talked to some of the commissioners, and then just last week I also talked to a gentleman who is on the committee that has been working for years to develop the general plan. And I would have to say I was very surprised to find out that they haven't met in the last year. They haven't called a meeting. That is not good. When we have had 6 years to get this done, and one of those years nothing happened, we can't expect to have results unless the city council shows some leadership and forces the hand of those people to move on or get new people on there. We're down to 5 years to get the marina plan done as part of the general plan. I say, when I get on city council, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to move forward with the plan. We're going to have to make some change on the committee or get them moving. It is the responsibility of our council and no one else.
As mentioned, our general plan, the updates are very overdue, and they nothing has happened in the last year. We were actually promised, I believe it was in February at the State of the City breakfast, that the draft of the new general plan would be out in October. Well, that's not going to happen. It really is just going to take people that make this their priority and take the leadership to get it done, just like a lot of the other issues in our town. And as was also mentioned, because the general plan is outdated, we've been doing a lot of spot planning, and that has led to a lot of land use battles in town that could have been avoided, which is unfortunate. So we do need to bring somebody needs to take the leadership, bring all the stakeholders to the table, all of the community members that want to be involved, the commission that's updating the plan, and we need to work with the city manager and provide the leadership to get it done. One of the reasons, as mentioned, that it's delayed is that we have gone through a lot of turnovers. We've gone through several city managers in the past couple of years. And we also don't have the staff at City Hall that is needed. We need more professional staff to be able to work on complicated issues like this. So there are some changes and that need to be made that would help with issues like this. And we need the leadership that's going to set this as a goal and get it done on time.
Well, one thing I know is all of Martinez is sick and tired of our roads. That's not an exaggeration. Measure D will give us a half-cent sales tax, which will equal about about 2-point-something million dollars. You add that to our $1 million budget we already have. That's a lot of road fixture. It may not solve all of our problems, but it certainly will get it going in the right direction. One nice thing about this tax is at the end of the year, the state of California is retiring a 1/4-cent sales tax. So we're only going to be feeling a 1/4 cent, and that's not much to feel when you see the benefits we get. Along with that, we're going to have an oversight committee so we can make sure that the money's being spent well. And our town does really well with oversight committees. Things do get done properly. The last thing we're going to be doing is we'll be using a rating system to decide what road gets fixed because it's bad, not who you know. And they'll also have a public input once a year. So I believe we have no choice. We have to pass Measure D. As far as figuring out some other way to fix our roads, I just don't think we have any other way to fix our roads. I know our budget is not in a way to do that, so there's just really nothing else for us to do that I know of. Thank you.
As you know, Measure D is on the ballot coming up in November. And I think it's important that we look very closely at it because our city streets have continually for years gotten worse and worse. If we pass the sales tax, we're not promising a panacea at all. What's going to happen is we're going to stop the deterioration. Right now in the county, we are rated as the second to worst cities of any city in the county. And if we don't come up with revenue, we're going to end up being the worst. Right now, we're rated at 50, and that is average. And in 4 years, if we don't pass this, we're going to be projected to be rated at a 40. That is poor, and we can't afford to do that. I don't think anybody here likes driving on those streets. The other part that's really important is it affects our property values. When people come to look at our homes that are up for sale and they see poor street conditions, they're going to say, do I really want to live here? It's an impression that people have of our city and how much they pay on the property. And property taxes is a huge part of our revenue also. So it's important to keep our streets in good shape and hopefully improve them. As has been mentioned, we only budget about $1 million a year for our streets, and that's very, very low. We need at least $2 to $3 million to just stay level. So if we don't pass this particular measure, our only alternative is to spend money in certain places and reduce spending in other places. And the question becomes, where do you want our money not to be spent? Do you want to reduce policing? Do you want to reduce trash hauling or whatever it may be that's going on right now? Do you want to have less water quality? We can't afford to do all things. So people have to decide, do I want to get rid of something or am I willing to pay the tax? Personally, I'm willing to pay the tax. And I want to see good roads for our city. And I think that if we don't, we're going to have some problems that we really don't want to be facing in terms of where funds are not going to be spent to be able to do our streets.
Okay, I'm also in favor of Measure D. I think our families deserve to have safe roads to drive on. And I think that if we don't do this and do it now, that it's only going to get worse and end up costing the taxpayer more money down the road. But I understand why people don't want to pay more taxes. And while it's true that I think you said quarter-cent sales tax from the state is going to expire, I think there's 17 ballot measures on the ballot this year, so there are other sales tax measures on the ballot. So it's not entirely true that we're only going to have a half-cent sales tax increase. We could have more. But again, we also can't afford not to do this. But we need, as mentioned, it doesn't solve the problem. We would be, if Measure D passes, we'd be have about $3 million a year to spend. That would maintain the current condition of the roads. It's not going to improve the roads. We're still about $2 million short to be able to actually improve all the roads that need to be improved. So we need to look at where is that money going to come from, and it's the same fix, the same way to solve it as a lot of our other issues in town is we need to generate more revenue, and that's related to the other things that we've already talked about attracting more businesses, marketing to businesses to come, people to come downtown and spend their money. It's all related, and we're going to have to do that whether Measure D passes or not. So I think that even though we do need to pass Measure D, we also need to plan for the big picture, and we need to look to our leaders to have a strategic plan, to plan for the long term, and to figure out where that money is going to come from and where it's needed. And we need to make sure that we aren't wasting the taxpayer dollars. So we need more fiscal responsibility, more transparency. We passed this great park bond in Martinez a couple years back. Now we have all these beautiful new parks, but we haven't actually budgeted to maintain those parks. I would hate to have to pass another bond in 20 years to replace all the parks again. So those are the kind of things that our leaders need to plan for the long term and look at the big picture so that we aren't continually playing catch up.
Well, when we were talking about this earlier this year, whether we should put this on the ballot, at one point I was the only council member that was gung-ho about putting it on the ballot this year. What I heard was, oh, well, we have to have a voter education program. Oh, we have to educate the people. Nonsense. The people of Martinez know what the conditions of the roads are. We don't need to survey them. We don't need to have this big groundswell of organization. Just ask the voters if they want to invest in their own property. As a property manager, I have to go to owners and say, here's what you can do. You can patch the roof for $500 this year, keep doing it every year, increasingly more for the next 5 years, or you can spend $2,000 and just $2,000 to $4,000, just get a new roof now and fix the problem. And that's kind of where we're at now. We've been patching the roads. We've been spending probably a bigger pro rata share of our budget than other cities do in their budgets for their roads. It's hard to do apples to apples because different cities have different things, like Pleasant Hill is a park and rec district, which is totally taxed and funded and takes care of their parks. So it's hard to compare budgets, but we have been pretty aggressive with our budget. We have a very lean staff. If we don't pass Measure D, which I support, and fortunately my colleagues were brave enough to put it on the ballot without much to do, and the staff got it ready. If we don't pass it, we have some soul searching to do. I know that sounds like a pretty deep phrase for road tax money, but as John mentioned, we run on a pretty tight ship down there. I'm the budget guy. We've got a $4 million reserve. We have a 20% reserve. I've even made sure that any year where we have an overage, that half of that of any overage goes to pension pay downs and infrastructure. I was proud to get that through this year. So we run a tight ship budget-wise, but there's just no way at some point you can play catch-up. And we can only catch up so much. So here's what I pitched to the council. Let's do a half cent. Some wanted to go just a quarter cent. No, let's do a half cent, 15 years. And if we, which by the way is 2 cents on a $4 sandwich. And in 5 years, let's go back to the voters, or let's let the public see how we're doing with their funds and how well we're repairing those roads, even though at this point it's projected to be less than what we need. There are innovations in road repair technology. They have different types of patch on the molecular levels that are doing much better at binding. They handle the roads better. And we can use new technology and be as judicious as we have been with the taxpayer dollars, see how we get with this new money. And I think that we're going to catch up a lot quicker than people might think. So I hope you vote yes for Measure D. Of course, I hope you vote for me, but above all, vote yes on Measure D. Our town needs it. We've got 17 square miles. We have a different geographical layout, and our road patterns are different than other cities because we have heavily used arterials with a lot less feeder streets than other cities have. I don't want to go into 20 minutes on that, but we have some design problems which make our roads our arterials get used more and quicker than other cities have their arterials because they have more and more of a grid pattern. We have more of a kind of a branch system. So anyway.
As I've mentioned already, I was the CEO of the Martinez Chamber of Commerce. I've been very involved in our community. I know what's going on. I think that experience speaks volumes because dealing with our community and our businesses every day gives one a really good insight as to what the people really want, not the rumors that you hear on the streets, but what's really wanted, what's really needed. And I think it's important that the city council know the people personally. I retired from the chamber last year and have taken a half-time job because I got a little bit bored just sitting at home and trying to figure out what to do with my time after working 50 and 60 hours a week. And I have been spending a lot of my time now out meeting the public again. And once I'm elected, I intend to continue doing that because I have learned so many things from the public, from small things that people run this sign and run through our block so quickly, and we don't have any kind of markings that there's a crosswalk here. And right over here on Rayleigh's Valley is one of them, right across from Tavern Estates. And I have experienced it coming out of there. The traffic flies down the hill from each side, and you can't safely cross the street. Minor issue, but you don't find out about those things unless you're out talking to the people, and that's one of the things that I want to do. My qualification there is that I have the time to really be able to do that. I also have a master's degree, as I mentioned, in public administration. That has given me great insight into how to handle a city, how to manage a city, how to develop really good policy. And developing good policy is hard because it's oftentimes conflicted. You have this side of the room wanting one thing, that side of the room wanting the other thing, and the people knocking at your door wanting another thing. So that takes a lot of analysis. And I've mentioned this before. When I was in graduate school, I wrote a paper, and I had my thesis, and I did my research, and by the time I got to the end of that research, I refuted my own thesis. That's the kind of thinking, critical thinking that we need in this city that can really look at the issues, be willing to see what they didn't know, and learn from the people what they really need to know. I think it's also important that I've been really involved in volunteerism. I've started 2 nonprofits in my lifetime, one here in Martinez where I raised money that helped produce Studios on the Streets, an arts education event that we did on Main Street. That sort of involvement and leadership is very important. I've led a number of organizations. I've also sat on a number of boards with large budgets, one comparable to the size of that of the city of Martinez. So I've dealt with large budgets that I won't find intimidating, and realizing, as I said before, you can't have it all. We've got to figure out what our top priorities are and deal with those and set aside the others until we have the money to do those things. I think I'm a strong leader. I've had people tell me that. I've been the CEO of an organization, the executive director of a couple of nonprofits. I've sat on a number of committees where I've been the leader. And as I say, I have been a businessman. I founded a very successful business, construction and property management company that I ran for years, and that gives me also great insight into the real estate needs of our city and the development needs of our city.
Well, as I mentioned before, I graduated from UC Davis Law School, and I came to Martinez, and I've been really involved with the schools and the sports and fundraising for both, and I've gotten to know a lot of the people in town and the small businesses. And I've also done volunteer work with Main Street Martinez, so I've gotten to know some of the challenges of downtown. As an attorney, I work with a lot of small businesses, defending them in a whole different barrage of different kind of lawsuits. But the theme is always the same. It's when you own a small business, you have to plan for the risks, and that's something that I've learned a lot about. And I've also learned a lot about solving problems. When being an attorney isn't really what you see on TV. You're not in court every day. You're sitting down with your clients and with the opposing parties and trying to come up with a solution to the problem. And that's what I do every day. Sometimes it's a multi-million-dollar case that I've had to manage and come up with a solution. And sometimes they're smaller, but it's always someone that owns this business, whether it's a construction company or a restaurant or a coffee shop. They're having a really bad day. And so what the skills that I've developed, and before I worked in this practice of law, I've worked at the district attorney's office, I've worked at the attorney general's office, and you always have to figure out what your problems are. So that takes analyzing, critical thinking skills, evaluating the issues, the pros and cons, and then you come up with your objective and your action plan, and you have to get it done on time. It's all about deadlines in the practice of law. So it's also about where are you spending your time. I have to bill my time by the hour, sometimes by the minute, and I have to be accountable to my clients to manage their money and tell them exactly what I did, when I did it, how much time I spent, and what it costs. And I really think that we need someone with those skills in our city government to tackle some of these big problems that we're facing. And we need people that aren't just going to talk about the problems. I don't doubt that every single person up here and every single person that sits on the council right now, everyone has good intentions, but not everyone has the same skills to look at these complicated problems, figure out what the solution is, and get it done. And that's what I think I will bring to the table. And I don't want to be a politician. I want to be a leader. I know I have the leadership skills, and I want to preserve what makes our city special, but also achieve the progress that our families want and deserve.
Well, first I want to say that aren't these my competitors are smart? Aren't these three smart people? So that's why I'm sweating. No, I mean, they're good. In the races I've had before, you've had some people that just had no business really running because they just wanted, it was an ego thing. They just wanted to run, and they didn't have any idea what the issues are. These folks have studied, and it's very gratifying to see these three people with me. And with that, hi, I'm Mark. I'm a codependent, and I say that in jest, but it goes to the question of what have you done and what can you do? And part of it is getting. You can have the grandest ideas in the world, you can have the greatest experience in the world, but unless you got 2 other votes on a 5-member board, you ain't got nothing, and you're going to get nothing done. So I'm very proud that I try to walk that balance of pleasing other people, pleasing the public, getting things done, listening to my colleagues. Yes, I get catty at sometimes. Yes, I do stick up for myself sometimes, thankfully, because I recognize I'm a codependent. And I set my boundaries, but you have to work with other people. And if you don't, you're not going to get anything done, no matter how good or how much money you raise or how great you sound or how good your brochure is, you ain't going to get nothing done. So I've been in service for a while. The last 4 years, I think I've done enough because of my leadership. Sometimes you let other people take the lead and let them get something done. It doesn't have to be about wearing the badge. And that's from my experience in leadership that serves me well in this job for the last 4 years. I'd like to, and I see in the next coming 4 years that we have a lot of issues where checking the ego at the door, setting up some boundaries still, don't get trampled, and trying to work with the people who you're with in any business and in family. This is how you have to work in the real world. And getting enough votes and getting a vision, getting enough votes for it that we actually get something done. And Martinez has been, unfortunately, stuck in some mire, like other communities, happens in other communities too. And I'm trying to avoid it. I have avoided it. This year, we had West Hills Farm. I know this is a group that's interested in open space, 44 acres, seems like a slam dunk, $250,000 the city has to put in. It's not exactly in the city limits, but the city encircles it. It was almost a dead deal. And finally, oh, come on, you know, okay, come on. And you let other people kind of take the lead. Next thing you know, it's a 5-0 vote. And so, and it was a slam dunk real estate wise, 44 acres for $500,000. Hey, where's my wallet? But it still wasn't a slam dunk, because sometimes that's the way it works in politics. That's your idea, it's a bad idea. I don't care if it's curing cancer, it's your idea, it's a bad idea. And I try to get that out of my way. Sometimes I'm guilty of it, I know I'm human, but that's how the leadership and the recognition of what is needed at our level, I try to embody.
Well, I have been a hairdresser in Martinez for close to 40 years. I've done probably half of Martinez's hair. People trust me. They come to me because they know I will do what they want me to do. More than that, I am known for being independent, direct, and I ask a lot of questions and I go out and find the answers. I'm a hardworking person. They know that. Like I said, I've been a volunteer in our community for more than 35 years with my kids at schools, anywhere from room mom, PTA president, booster mom, oversight committees, a big fundraiser. I'm well known for fundraising, volunteer coordinator. For Martinez Celebrate Cycling, I collected 300 volunteers for 2 years in a row to work the event. And I called up everybody the day before to make sure they all showed up, and they all showed up, okay? I've been on the parking commission. That's always been a burr in my side, parking problems downtown. Let's see here. I was on this historical society. I started their booklet. The first 2 years I was in charge of the booklet. They came to me because they were stuck. And also after that, I did docent for them for quite a few years. That's a lot more fun than doing the book. And then in 2008, I was voted Woman of the Year. Well, it's like, oh my goodness gracious, okay, it's time to take a little bit of a break, okay? And so I have been doing that. But now I'm back on program. Martinez needs my help, okay? I have a passion for service. I am known to get things done. I do not fail. Any organization I've been involved with, they have all been successful in our endeavors. That's what I do.
I mean, I do want to say to Bill that I think all of your questions were really good, and I think they're the things that people want to hear about. So I feel like you've gotten a really good idea of who I am and what I want to do, and some of the skills that I will bring to the city council. I think we have a really unique opportunity with this election because there are things happening in Martinez. We have a new police chief, we have a new city manager who I've met, I really like, I've heard great things about him. So I really think with the right people on the city council, we can get some of these big issues that we've talked about today, we can solve some of these problems. And I really think, like I've talked about this all day, it's gonna take people with the leadership skills, the problem-solving skills, the critical thinking skills to get these things done. If I'm elected, I really wanna work on our master plan for our marina to attract the investors, and the same with the downtown, to start generating the revenue that we need to do things like pay the new contract for our police officers. For a long time in Martinez, we had a problem with police officers coming here and being trained, but then leaving and going places that paid better. We now have a new contract for the police officers, so hopefully more of them will stay longer, but we're gonna have to find the money to pay for that contract, just like we're gonna have to find the money to pay for the roads and find the money to maintain these beautiful new parks we have. So we need people that look at the big picture, are transparent, have fiscal responsibility, and also, like I've talked about, have the leadership skills to get some of these things done. And I think that's me. I have the vision for the long term here. I have a 4th grader. I'm planning to be here a long time. I love this town. I love the schools. I love the parks. I love the people. And I just want Martinez to be the best that it can be and to solve some of these issues that we have. I'm endorsed by the Democratic Party of Contra Costa County, the Central Labor Council of Contra Costa County, which is right down the street here on Pine Street, the Contra Costa County firefighters, because public safety is very important to me. I want to work with the county to reopen Fire Station 12 in Martinez. And I'm also endorsed by several local leaders, several local educators and families, because they know I have the energy, the vision, and the skills to get things done and work with all of the people in town. Mark made a really good point. You don't just have to have the skills and know about the issues, you also have to be able to work with people. And that's something that I have to do every day in my job. And I do it in all of my volunteer work, and I would love to be able to do it in my town that I love to get some things done and just continue to make Martinez just like it is. We're going to continue to be the best place to live in the Bay Area.
Again, thank you for spending your time and checking out the future of our town and who you'd like to be representing you in running our great city. I'm Mark Ross, and I'm asking for your vote because I've demonstrated leadership in the last 4 years. I've helped to procure open space, which is what this living room is all about. And what is behind us in this house is one of the more prominent ridges in Contra Costa County, if not the East Bay. And I have a secret plan to end the war, but I jest, but this is where I played, and this is going to be my priority, is saving the Alhambra Hills, not just for the neighbors around it, but for everybody. It's stunning up there, and I want to share that with the generations to come. I have experience in the budget. I'm the budget guy. We have a balanced budget. We have more than a 20% reserve, and we have a budget policy I helped put in place, insisted we put in place that we always have a 20% cushion for bad times to come, because it always goes up and down. I pushed for Measure D to be on the ballot. I'm a big infrastructure guy. The marina, I think we've got a handle on the ownership of it. Now we can actually get some partners to make it work. I want more police on our streets. I was endorsed by the Martinez Police Officers Association. I believe in a full and complete community and full and complete services. We can do it. We're not inept at this. In Martinez, we're very strong people, and we have very smart people and very dedicated people that want to get involved, and it's an honor to be a public servant for this community. Now, when I see you downtown, I'll tell you all about what's coming and what we can do down there to make it better. I have a whole list of plans that I can't elaborate here due to time constraints, but if you want to go to markross.info and contact me, I got a few calls. My personal phone number is 212-8127. That's 925 area code. Give me a call. I'm about as open as you can be. You don't have to give me money to get access. I don't have a lot of fundraisers, even the cheap ones. You can call me up and you don't have to give me a dime. But I would like your vote, and please check out my fellow candidates. Check us all out. I think we're very lucky to have all four of us at your service potentially. Thank you.
Well, first I'd like to thank Bill for having this, and thank you all for coming, and all of you who are listening. I'm not a politician. I'm just a regular Martinez citizen who wants to make the city better. That's something I've been doing for the last 30, 40 years, working hard every day to make our town better. What I think we need more than anything is a person in council who has a relationship with our community, who they trust, who they know will work hard for them and get them involved. I will do that. I have the endorsement from hundreds of people in Martinez. It's very exciting. I just can't tell you. I'm endorsed by 1,000 friends. I'm endorsed by building and construction trades, all of them. I've been endorsed by landowners, property owners, business people. I mean, the list is endless. If you happen to see my endorsement list, it's pretty shocking. It excites me to know that so many people in our town trust me to make a difference, okay? I'm open, inclusive, and I will make a big difference. There's no doubt about that. I look forward to talking to all of you. I'm available. My phone number is 324-3393. Thank you.
I really appreciate Bill and his wife opening up their home this evening, and for everyone coming here to hear what we have to say, so that you can really vote for the most knowledgeable, candidate, the one that you think can serve you the best and will really do what's right for Martinez. In respect to that, I want to say that I've been endorsed by a number of businesses in town, especially downtown, because I worked with them while I was at the Chamber of Commerce as the CEO. I helped many of them. I've also been endorsed by a number of people in the community, and I'm the only candidate to have been endorsed by both the Martinez Police Officers Association and the United Professional Firefighters of Contra Costa County, two of our most important organizations here. I'm very big on safety, and as many of you may know, 61% of our budget in the city goes to our police department, and it should. We've been unfortunately understaffed because we've lost officers because of attrition. Hopefully with the new contract, that is going to stop, but we have to keep working to make sure that we keep our officers here and have strong neighborhood policing. I want to reiterate several of my top issues, one of those being streets, another being safety, of course, development of the waterfront and downtown. Code enforcement is a big issue downtown. We want it to look good and be inviting, and I intend to work on all those things. I know everyone on City Council. I've conversed with them many times. I believe I have a good working relationship with all of them, and I look forward to working with them when I'm elected. I also want to mention that one of the issues in downtown is the issue that we were talking about how to get people downtown. We need to have developers that can build more than two-story buildings. They can't afford to develop their property at that height level. Until we change the downtown specific plan to let them do that, we're not going to see the real kind of development that could happen here. I intend to work very, very hard on that and making that happen. And I want to see our downtown be the gym that we all have talked about for so long. And I also want to say I'm a resident of Virginia Hills. Those of you who are here and live nearby, you can find me easily. I'm usually out walking my dachshunds, and I've been fielding a lot of calls and a lot of emails. Last night I had several from people, and I encourage you to write to me or call me. My email address and my phone number are both available on my website, John Stevens 2016. Thank you for being here, everyone, and I hope I have your vote.